Hello and welcome in. I wanted to kick things off, interestingly, on the first day of Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So I know that's a little counterintuitive, I suppose, in terms of a launch cycle, but I have so many personal planets and planets in general in retrograde. Hey, why not? So with that being said, right, today is February 26th, 2026, first day of Mercury retrograde in Pisces. The retrograde itself is beginning at 22 degrees Pisces, and it's going to crawl all the way back to 8 degrees Pisces. So I guess that kind of begs the question, where does that land in your birth chart, right? So that could be an area of focus for you. For themes that you want to spend time reflecting on. I know depending on what you watch and what you see, Mercury retrograde might mean different things to you. It could mean, our computers aren't going to work and we're going to have trouble sending emails and all those things. It could mean, right, communication issues, but anything, I've listened to a lot of people talk about this, and it's like anything that begins with RE is a good thing to do, right? It's a good thing to review, revisit, review plans that you've made, or things you're about to say, or plans you're making. It's a good thing to revisit things that you've abandoned, projects that you're not, you've sort of walked away from, all sorts of good things. And then figuring out where that sits in your birth chart can absolutely be helpful, right? Ace of Swords, a little validation on that. Figuring out where that sits in your birth chart can be helpful just to guide you, because otherwise it can be very overwhelming. You can't sort of boil the ocean. So with that being said, for me, it's going to begin in my 12th house. Which is the house of spirituality, karma. It's also the house of mental illness and hospitalization. So hopefully I want to steer my personal review into things related to karmic matters, karmic relationships, ties, etc., and my connection to spirit. So here we are. As this progresses, where is this going to bring us over the next, 3 weeks or so? It's going to crawl back into my 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, and my extended networks. So again, let's see where it takes us. We're going to do a read today, and the intention for the read is that we'll get a little bit of insight about our energies entering the retrograde. And I'm going to pull all these cards face down, and then we'll explore them together as we go. So energies facing, or as we enter the retrograde, I'm going to now, I guess I'll do it now. We just won't talk about it. We'll talk about what house this is affecting, what sign in our birth charts this is affecting, and what planet to focus on. All right, so we'll talk about that as well. And then beneath those three themes, we'll do a quick opportunity, challenge, and outcome. Okay, so I'm figuring this out as we go along. We'll see how this hits, or if this hits. And we'll get some clarification. And I lied. I said I was going to pull all of these things face down, but then I had jumpers. So here we are. They're showing up and they're coming to the party. Whatever. We just go where energy flows. All right. So we could talk a little bit about the houses, or the astro dice that we rolled. I have showing up for us the 10th house. The 10th house represents career, personal ambition, public how we show up in the world, our reputation, our public reputation, and legacy, right? So we've got that as a theme to reflect on, and we'll see how Pisces and the influence of this retrograde kind of backs us into that. We also have Cancer as the sign. So I'm not sure where this sits in your birth chart. Maybe it's your, it could be any of the houses. It could be your 10th house. It could be the ruler of your 10th house. It could be your rising sign. right? And your 10th house is in Aries. It could be your 12th house sign, right? And so just kind of figure out where it sits and how these energies are playing together. But for me, my 10th house is in Capricorn. And my Cancer sign is in the 4th house of home, stability, foundation, all those things. The planet that we're watching is going to be, in this case, Pluto. And Pluto is obviously the transformation planet. It recently entered Aquarius. Aquarius is about all things, right? The collective. It talks about technology, but doing things in a way that is good for the collective. And so, right, we're entering this um, Aquarian energy coming out of Capricorn, the way things have always been done, the systems that we've built that aren't working. And we're seeing a lot of truths get revealed, and we'll see how this obviously transforms over the next 15 or so years. But Pluto for me actually sits in Scorpio in my 7th house. And 7th house are about partnerships. 7th house themes include clients. It includes, again, your committed partnerships, right, with a spouse or, somebody you're dating. It could also include themes around, right, people that you partner with for work. It could be a business partner or otherwise. All right, so how are we showing up to this retrograde? We have, the Muse of Materials, which is the equivalent of the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles moves very slow, right? It's very grounded energy. It's very accomplished energy. Perhaps we're recognizing our accomplishments and the power in ourselves. Maybe we've been going through a bit of a transformation and are reclaiming, right, our power. We're seeing the ways in which we've given it away, hopefully. I think a lot of people are kind of seeing the ways that we've duped ourselves and have been duped over the years. All right. As we begin, we in the 10th house, the themes of the 10th house, we have for our opportunity, the 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords oftentimes represents, right, conflict, manipulation. And I think a lot of people are starting to see the ways in which they've been manipulated. Again, with that being present in the 10th house, your opportunity is to kind of see, once again, the ways in which you've given away your power. And right, this could be an opportunity for us to reclaim that. Now, the challenge is the Queen of Pentacles. So with the Queen of Pentacles showing up in the challenge position, I want to ask, like, who is that block? Who is that block? Is it yourself? Is it the fact that you've not embraced or come into balance with that King and Queen of Pentacles energy? Have you not balanced the duality between the feminine and the masculine energies in yourself? That could very well be. Maybe the opportunity is to see the ways in which we've, told ourselves stories that really haven't been for our own personal good. Maybe we've followed rabbit holes, gone down rabbit holes rather, that, we thought we were taking advice from folks that had our best interests at mind and at heart, and really we didn't have our own best interests at heart. And that kind of led us to get out of balance with that feminine and masculine energy. Alternatively, it could just be the person that you're dealing with, right? It could be an actual archetype of a person that you're encountering. So if we think about 10th house energy, career, ambition, all those things, is there a feminine energy that you're coming up against? It could be, a male or a female embodiment in the 3D, but is it somebody who kind of presents as a block? The outcome is 8 of Wands, 8 of Inspiration. And so what that's saying is that there's likely an opportunity to reconnect or have some type of conversation. A lot of times the 8 of Wands can represent fast-moving communication, news traveling fast. So maybe there's an opportunity to kind of confront some of these patterns, either within yourself or externally with somebody that you're dealing with, so that you can kind of break through, right? As we think about that Piscean energy, it naturally rules the 10th house, or rather, the 12th house of the unseen, intuition, karmic ties and bonds. So no matter where that's placed in your birth chart, there, if it is the ruler of your 10th house, there's going to be that undertone, regardless, right, of what sign is the ruler of that house. It's always there. It's always present. So with that in mind, this could be an opportunity for you to really confront and maybe break karmic ties in places that you really didn't know that maybe you had this historical connection that has, inadvertently, or not inadvertently, but unbeknownst to you, influenced the relationships that you've been having with those around you, right? Depending on where you're at and what you're thinking about, a lot of people talk about, past life karma. And that could absolutely be something, right, that you are clearing in this 10th house energy. And if you're not aware of it, or if you're becoming aware of it, right, you're going to start to see, if you spend the time reflecting during this Mercury retrograde, the manipulation unfolding, the truths unfolding, how you've sold yourself short, all those types of themes, and what you're up against, and how to kind of break free from that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll keep coming, we'll do some clarification as we go. Moving along into the sign that we're following here, we have Cancer. So depending on where Cancer sits in your house, or in your birth chart rather, right, that could give you an indication on what's happening. It could also be a sign that you're dealing with. So take the information as it resonates. For me, like I said, I am a Cancer sun. So it's my vitality. It's how I show up. But it's also the natural ruler of my 4th house. And so here for our opportunity, we have the Knight of Swords. For our challenge, we have the Lovers. And for our outcome, we have the 7 of Pentacles. So if we think about these, right, if we break it down, the Knight of Swords is, action. It's communication. It's moving forward. It's, thoughts and hopes and dreams and wishes, right? And it's trying to move that energy forward. It's taking swift action. You can see this guy coming out in front of the sky. That horse is riding forward. So the opportunity there is, obviously to build momentum towards whatever we're working on. And with the outcome being 7 of materials, right? This could definitely signal that we're working on our legacies. What are we here to leave behind? What do we want to put our time? What do we want to invest our time into? So that 7 of materials is, I hear some readers talk about it, and I quite like it. It's is the juice worth the squeeze? It's kind of a nice little anecdotal reference there to think about it. But it's like, am I investing my time, which is, fleeting? Am I putting my time into things that are, giving back to me? Is there reciprocity in these relationships? Am I doing things that jazz me up and get me excited and, revved up from a creative standpoint? Or am I following somebody else's playbook? So those are some things to think about and reflect upon. And with the challenge energy, we do have the Lovers. And so the Lovers is 6 in obviously the major arcana. It represents communication. It also represents the sign of Gemini. And so, this could ask us to think about our communication. There's also, we're going to have Uranus, I believe, enter Gemini not too long from now. So Uranus is like the love rebel planet. It's, the unexpected. So that, there could be some changes or unexpected revelations that come with that energy. But it's also just, just keep it simple. It's a good opportunity, or the challenge that you might be having is around your communication with those who are closest to you. It could be, again, partnerships. It could be in those committed partnerships. All right. So moving towards the planetary influence of Pluto, again, where does this sit in your chart? And kind of think about how it's playing with some of these other signs, right? Are there aspects to the 10th house? Are there aspects to Cancer? Is your Pluto in Cancer? I don't know. So think about these things, and there's, take what resonates and kind of see if there's any patterns or stories that you can stitch together and weave together for yourself. But with the influence of Pluto, and I'll just share with you through my experience, right, in the seventh house, and I have an intercepted chart, right? So my Taurus and my Pluto actually do not rule a sign, which is kind of interesting. They just kind of sit inside of the first and the seventh house. And so, again, this is for me across the hall from things like my North Node and how I show up in the world. But my opportunity, or our opportunity rather, right? I'm going to take these for myself as we go, because who knows who's going to see this and stay this long into the reading. But the opportunity, right, for themes related to Pluto, transformation opportunities, is the Wheel of Fortune, which, represents Jupiter. It represents divine timing. It represents now and the wheel turning in your favor. And so with that, right, that signals to me, because my natal placement for Jupiter happens to be in the 11th house. And so what does that say, right? If my experience during this personal Mercury retrograde is that we're going to have Mercury reflect all the way back into that 11th house near Jupiter for me. I mean, Jupiter is the good husband. Jupiter represents, your luck, your abundance, sort of your magic, the things that you should be focusing on. So again, this is a signal of sort of divine timing and those opportunities becoming available to you. Now, the challenge is the Page of Cups in this particular reading. And so, this is maybe signaling, right, becoming a beginner again at something. This is signaling maybe an apology. Maybe you need to give an apology to someone. Maybe you need to apologize to yourself for, again, this, if they're linked, the Five of Swords energy, if it's something, if your themes indicate that you've kind of sold yourself short over the years. Page of Emotions, but when I look at this card, right, I kind of see womb energy, I see heart, chakras opening, right? And it's trusting the transformation, right? With Pluto kind of governing the reading here. We have Pluto saying, hey, you have this great opportunity to transform, and embrace divine timing, right? And to truly embrace, right, your King of Pentacles, your ability to create a legacy. Are you going to accept it? Are you going to accept it? And so these are some things to reflect and revisit during this cycle. Now, in addition to that, we have the world as our outcome. So looks like you're going to do it. Looks like, you're ready to close out this chapter, whatever it is, however it's been for you. It's a good time, right, to learn the lessons that have been presented to you, really get, squared away and aligned with, your intentions and where you want to invest your energy and who you want to, and your motivations behind it, right? Intention matters. We are living in a world of AI, and there's a lot of energy going into all things AI, and there's a lot of theories about what's going to happen with the adoption of AI. And, it's here. And there are situations where it's very positive, but there are also, as with anything, opportunities for it to be, abused and misused. And again, a lot of that is going to flow back into power dynamics. And so you have to, I think we're all being called right now to really look ourselves clearly in the eye, and say, who am I? How am I showing up? Is that in alignment with the legacy I want to leave? Am I truly following my own dreams? Or am I just pulling a bag or carrying a bag for somebody else? And if you are carrying a bag for somebody else and you're quite happy with it, are you learning the lessons you need to learn so that when you're no longer happy with it, you can go to the next thing that fills your cup, right? With the Page of Cups. So these are just some things to consider. So we also had some additional jumper cards that I just don't want to leave undisclosed or undiscussed. We have the five of emotions behind us, right? And so that could be the five of cups, often indicates moving forward or leaving something behind, right? Are you having a change of heart? Are the tides shifting? You can see here she's kind of pulling from the icicle, and there's this little I don't know if I'm interpreting this right, but that's how it looks to me. She's got this little ripple of water energy, and a little droplet there with the moon, right? And so check out your moon sign. What does that say to you? Does that conform, or do you have your moon in your 10th house, or is it aspecting Pluto in some way? But really focus on the things that emotionally drive you. We also have the 10 of swords, right, which is indicating that you are illuminating or becoming aware of situations where you've been done wrong. 10 of swords is, you're not coming back from it. Somebody, they've gone after you, or you've self-sabotaged yourself, and there's just no coming back from it. So again, it's an opportunity to take stock in, what did I learn from this, right? How can I extract some wisdom from it? How can I move forward? How can I have gratitude, even in challenging times? If somebody said, I think it was a comedian who said, why, if we're making, I'm going to botch it, but why make so many mistakes if you're not going to bother learning from them, right? And sometimes, depending, right, how stubborn you are and your placements or retrograde planets in your birth chart, sometimes it takes a long time to gather the wisdom. But once you have it, use it to your advantage. And then we have the six of materials, which really kind of supports exactly what I just said there. Extract the wisdom, share it, be generous, and keep building, right? Keep building towards that brighter future, investing those pentacles in things that have reciprocity, that fill you up, that you, feel good about at the end of the day. All right, so I'm gonna not take that, even though we'll see if it comes out again. All right, I want to just pull a couple of cards here to see potentially what we don't see coming throughout the retrograde. Hopefully sort of that breakdown, the organization of, what to watch for and where it might sit in your birth chart was helpful. Obviously, as always, take what resonates if you find this, leave anything else behind that doesn't fit. If you're meant to be here, you'll find it, all that good stuff. But let's see, what don't we see coming for this retrograde? Okay. All right. So we have celebration, enjoy victories with others. Again, that's placed in the 10th house energy. So if, as you overcome the queen of materials, whoever she may be, if she is you, or if she is truly an adversary that you're up against, understand that, there maybe that 8 of wands, maybe that conversation is really the illuminator for you, and take time to celebrate. If you do have a victory, even, personally, professionally, or otherwise, make sure that you enjoy that victory with others, those that you can trust, those who have supported you along the way. Now beneath Cancer, again, wherever that sits in your chart, we had the discussion of the conversation, the things we tell ourselves, the challenge being how we communicate, how we want to take forward movement and action, and how we measure our investment on time, and sort of what we are, is the juice worth the squeeze, again, with that 7 of pentacle energy there. We have sweetness and to set clear boundaries. Okay. So this says, right, you can't be everything to everyone all the time. And so, if you are making changes, you need to be able to communicate those changes. You need to be able to communicate your hopes and wishes and your dreams, that 11th house energy. You need to be able to, communicate and articulate that. So, those that you are working with can appreciate your evolution, or why you're making these changes, or why you want to pursue a new path, or whatever this victory is over here, maybe how it's being applied over here. So just kind of stitch those together as appropriate. And then under the Pluto, the transformation energy, we have travel, and that says pack and go. So perhaps there's going to be an opportunity for you to make some moves, to try something new, to pursue a new opportunity. Maybe it's 10th house related. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's wherever, Pisces is for you. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's in your 9th house and you're going abroad. That's totally possible. But embrace it. If you have an opportunity to travel, sort of physically or metaphorically, embrace it and, take advantage of that. All right. So as we close out here, I just want to get a little advice on each of these themes for us, and then I'll leave you to explore the retrograde as you see fit, right? Hopefully we can check in and find more time to reconvene and just discuss how we're doing as we go. Okay, so we have the 40 card that says gather your nuts. I mean, come on, that seems like you've been in prep mode for a long time. Showing up as that King of Pentacles, right? You've been working towards whatever this is for a long time. So again, that's in that 10th house energy. Get ready. Gather your nuts. One more. All right, we'll get 2 more. It says to follow your bliss and to harvest the honey. All right, so again, staying aligned with who you really want to be when you grow up. I know that sounds silly, but this is that period of reflection and finding balance in what I'm doing today and where I've invested my time versus where I want to invest my time. And if that's not a hard switch over, if that's not, something you could say, I'm done today, I'm moving tomorrow, how do you build that bridge? How do you plan for that travel while protecting your boundaries, right? All right, so let's see what we have advice-wise for that Cancerian energy. Again, as we talked about, right, that's communicating our plans for moving forward, right, that based upon what we learn and reveal during this Mercury retrograde and how we're measuring our time invested and protecting our boundaries as we do it. Advice. Oh, tell shame to suck it. I love this card. It's one of my favorites in this deck. Sorry, had a call come in. I hate spam calls. I never get spam calls, so we'll have to stitch this guy together. But we had the tell shame to suck it card up here. I'm not sure where we left off. Tell shame to suck it for our advice in the Cancerian energy. So if you're having an about face epiphany about who you are and what you want to pursue, and people around you are like, is that really what you want to do? It's not so bad. What you've been doing isn't so bad, right? Tell them to mind their monkey business. It's not about them. It's about you. You have to start choosing you. And I think collectively speaking, right, we've learned and inherited patterns that have enabled us to stay small or to just follow a playbook of safety. But now we're ready to embrace our truth and embrace what truly is. So remember that. All right, so just a few final cards here for Pluto and the transformation energy. Oh, we had a couple. All right, it says expect a miracle. Transformation, expect a miracle. Travel, pack and go. Manifest your magic. Yeah. What's so different? You want to break this cycle. You've got abundance available to you. That is that opportunity. Your outcome is to break the cycle. You're transforming into something more heart aligned. One more under that transformation energy. Advice. Whoa. JK. It says, look beyond the surface. They're all very excited to be here. Look beyond the surface. Okay. Watch out for a frog prince. You are being asked, right, to use your discernment here. Create intentional solitude. Be your own wise leader. Don't outsource this power, right? That's the pattern we're looking to break here. Don't outsource that pattern and follow somebody else's recommendation. Create intentional solitude so that you truly know that your decisions are coming from your deepest, your deepest beliefs, your personal beliefs in alignment. And it says, fall abundantly, right? And this is an 11 card. 29 equals 11. And if you see here, there's the shadowy pillars, 1111 behind our little birdie friend. And grapes, I mean, that's some symbolism of abundance as well. Yes, fantastic energy, transforming completely into somebody stronger, wiser, someone more self-assured. Spend the time to really fill your own cup. I don't think that this is a super scary retrograde. In Pisces, this is an opportunity to go within, assess our connection to our higher selves, to spirit, to whatever you believe in or whatever you're searching for, because you're being guided. All right, thanks so much for joining me on the first one, our retrograde debut. We'll see where we go. I hope to come back and provide updates, throughout the next couple of weeks and beyond. So subscribe and follow along if you feel compelled. And I thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.